turn into moving figures on my screen. Yeah. So we're slightly late this morning. I was stuck in the waiting room for a little bit because Zoom has stopped displaying people alphabetically. So it took Patrick a while to find me and realize I was sitting in the waiting room. So Vijay still has a migraine today, so I'm doing my own tech. So if you see me kind of leaning around like this, it's because my computer's not very easy to reach. So I'm just looking to see who's here. Okay, so welcome to day 3, session 1. And today we're going to be exploring more about dealing with difficulties. And by the end of the day, we might even be preparing to die, let's see. But to start off with, let's meditate. So yesterday we were focusing mainly on the wisdom aspect of things. In this meditation, we'll come back more to the compassion side of things and open-heartedness. So as usual, just sitting. Making sure we're as well grounded as possible. Any thoughts and preoccupations, just imagine flowing down through the body, down into the ground. Making sure our posture is as helpful as possible. Sometimes even very subtle adjustments make a real difference to how our energy and our mind operate. It's always good just to take a little time to explore over time, becoming more and more sensitive to how little changes affect things. Now coming into a full awareness of the body, full awareness of the sensations and the energy movements. Becoming very intimate with our experience. Now bringing energy and awareness to our heart center. Becoming really intimate with that deep place. And based in our heart center, I'd like to invite you to do some reflection, to start with a little remembering. And here we're working with this 7-point mind training, which is all about open-heartedness, all about love and care for those around us, for the world, finally for all beings. So I'd like to explore some of the roots of how we came to be engaged with this desire to live with an open heart, to live generously. So I invite you to think back. Let's go back to childhood. Just see if we can find little sprouts of that open-heartedness, that generosity, that awareness of others. Maybe in our own life, our own behavior as children, small children even. But also examples around us that we took in. Maybe from our immediate environment, family and friends, or even other people that we heard about or read about, or stories that we read. Let's explore these beginnings of what becomes love and compassion and connection with bodhicitta. Just open, seeing what comes to mind. Now moving forwards a little in our life, maybe into teenage years, growing up more and more, moving towards adulthood. Again, noticing that tendency to care, kindness, generosity. Maybe at this stage of our life, there's more beginnings of idealism, care about the world and what's happening in it. And seeing what we can find, what we notice. And then coming forward until the point where we find the Dharma. It's difficult to lead because some of us have got quite a few more decades than others to be aware of. Just finding examples is as if, maybe it feels as if there's something that's wanting to play itself out in our life, or a sort of current of our being that wants to express itself. Sometimes the conditions are there and it really does. Other times it's covered over by fear or self-concern. Then it reappears. Certainly, as we become involved with the Dharma, it's fed and it's more conscious. Really feeling this tendency, this energy in ourselves, wanting to play itself out, wanting to be fully expressed. And this tendency, this stream of this momentum has been fed within a spiritual community with friendship and Dharma study, meditation, all kinds of gatherings together like this one. Until we come right to the present. And in imagination, let's go beyond the present. Let's have a sense of possibility, of how it would be, how it can be, for our heart to open more and more and more. Noticing any misgivings, any objections from our being, which usually means that we're not sure we have the resources. In which case it would be good just to reflect for a minute on what resources we feel we need to be able to live with a really open heart. and feeling how it can be to live a really open-hearted life, to find a fulfillment of that tendency, that deep current of our being that's been trying to find the way of being really open-hearted. Feeling all that, let's see if we can turn that into a real wish, a real volition, a real, may this be so. And we can call on all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the positive forces that there are, to strengthen that wish. And we could widen things out and make a similar wish for the whole order. That the whole order becomes more and more an expression of the open heart, more and more an expression of love and compassion and generosity and help and support. Now relaxing, just aware experience. Everything as it is. and dedicating the merits to all beings. May all our hearts open. So, we've been so far exploring the first 2 points of the 7-point mind train. And yesterday we spent quite a bit of time on resting the nature of the alaya and what to do between sessions. Not being fooled by how things appear, being aware of the kind of mind-created way that things are. So today we're going to move on to point 3, which is transforming bad circumstances into the way of awakening. And on the last retreat, we did the first 3 of those. When the world is filled with negativity, transform all adverse conditions into the path of awakening. Blame everything on one culprit. And we saw the one culprit was self-clinging, or ego clinging. The culprit isn't the self or the ego. The culprit is self-clinging. So fundamentally, that's the primary condition for suffering, and it also happens to be the one that we can do something about. A lot of the other conditions for suffering are out of our hands, but we can explore how we cling onto me and everything that we build on that. So yes, when things go wrong, we turn towards our mind and look at how we're reacting, how we're responding. That's the primary movement, rather than the usual movement to blame this person, that situation, and so on. So instead of blaming everyone else, number 13 says, be grateful to everyone. And gratitude and appreciation are tremendous kind of qualities. Mind just loves appreciating and feeling grateful. They're really vital qualities to work with and develop. And the more we develop them, actually, the happier and freer mind becomes, and therefore the more resilient it becomes when faced with difficulties. But also there's a way in which people who give us difficulties also show us where we still need to be working with our mind. Yeah, some people do things that are difficult, but they don't bother us, because we're not vulnerable in that way. So where somebody creates a difficulty for us and it affects us, and it really sort of gets in there, that's showing us something about, there's a sort of chink in our armor, so to speak. There's a vulnerability which gives us a chance to do something about it. It gives us a chance to grow. It gives us a chance to work and transform further. So in that way too, we can be grateful to everyone. So those three we covered on the last retreat. And so now we have 14, 15, and 16. So we're in this territory of transforming bad circumstances into the way of awakening. So number 14 says, regard confusion as the four kayas. Emptiness is the unsurpassed protection. So this is another wisdom approach to things. Regard confusion as the four kayas. So there's some difficulty, perhaps we get kind of lost in some difficulty or other. Something happened to us, we weren't expecting it. It really throws us. So here we are in what you'd think is really not a very good state. And there are all sorts of ways that we could work with that. We could work with Tonglen. We could catch ourselves feeling, I'm just lost here. I don't know what to do. So first response is connect with the refuge in our heart, and draw on those deep qualities. And then second response would be, yes, I'm not the only one who feels like this. I feel like I'm especially suffering here, but actually all sorts of people get thrown by things and feel sort of lost. So then we breathe in all the confusion and thrownness and lostness of all beings. We're empathize with them here. We're in solidarity with them, and along with them, it's like we go for refuge. We take all that suffering into the refuge, and from the refuge comes whatever's needed. So there's firstly just a kind of, often almost a kind of parental kind of care. It's almost like the refuge needs to put an arm around you and just kind of hug you. If you're feeling really lost, like a sort of lost child or something. But then more resources will come. Sort of clarity and strength and a sort of sense of encouragement and support, and then more and more kind of clarity and really sort of a sense of, right, this is the direction to take, and so on. So we could work in that way, and the refuge would be sending those qualities out to all beings as well. So that confused situation has caused us it's put us in touch with the refuge, it's put us in touch with deep qualities, it's enabled us to empathize with other living beings, and it's put us in touch with the resources that we need in order to meet the situation. So we could practice like that, but we could also regard this confusion as the four kayas. So what does that mean? Well, in Sharatna, we're used to the interpretation of the three kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nimanakaya. So the Nimanakaya is the appearance in the world of an awakened being. So like Shakyamuni Buddha is a Nirmanakaya form, say. Then we have Sambhogakaya figures, which are more on the, as it were, archetypal realm. So Ratnasambhava would be an archetypal, would be a Sambhogakaya form of the Buddha, or White Tara, and so on. And then there's the Dharmakaya, which is the open, if you like, the awakened mind, yeah, with its qualities. Yeah. That's all that openness and so on. Yeah, so we're used to interpreting the three kayas in that way. But here they're being taken in a different way, and this teaching seems to come again more from sort of Kagyu and Nyingma sources rather than Gelug sources. If you read Gelug commentaries, sometimes they don't even have this piece of advice. It's not there, or if it is, it's put quite generally as sort of wisdom. Wisdom is the unsurpassed protection. So here, the interpretation, say of a Kagyu teacher, would be that we look into the nature of experience, and in this moment, we find qualities which are akin to the three kayas. So, I've got sort of really thrown by something, and I'm kind of sitting here in a state of confusion. But I can still find certain qualities of mind that are always present. In a way, I can rely on them, however confused and confusing things are. So first off, I can always, when I really explore, I can always find the empty, open dimension of things. Yeah. I can always find, firstly, a certain kind of spaciousness of mind. But I can also, whatever I look into, I find that it doesn't have any core. Yeah, I find that ungraspable quality to everything. And that gets related to the Dharmakaya. Yeah. So in the moment, I can always, when it feels like there's nothing I can rely on, if I look into my experience, however far it seems to be from the Dharma, I can always find that quality. And then, let's go to the Nirmanakaya, which you remember is the sort of the emanation body. That open, ungraspable dimension is always, as it were, emanating, producing appearances. So there's always some kind of manifestation of that emptiness. Yeah, there's always form always has an empty dimension, and emptiness always has an appearance dimension to it. Even if we're in some dhyana or other where there's all there is open space, still there's the appearance of open space. So yes, there's some kind of manifestation, some kind of appearance. So that's related to the Nirmanakaya. And again, I can always rely on that. Yeah, whatever I'm making of what's appearing, there is always going to be appearances. So again, I can rely on that. I can trust that. And then the Sambhogakaya aspect is linked to the dynamic kind of energetic quality of things. Yeah, it's like, yes, there are appearances, but they're not just static. Yeah, it's not like, yes, there's just, you know, everything is like a sort of still photo. Yeah. These appearances, there's a sort of play of appearances, there's a dance of appearances. And I can always find that dynamic quality. I can always find the energetic quality to my experience. So whatever's going on, and that's related to the Sambhogakaya. It's a sort of joyful dance of appearances, a play of appearances, which are always mysteriously ungraspable. So this is a wisdom approach to things. Yeah, here we are. You know, something difficult is happening, and usually we're kind of caught up in the content of it and what it means to me, and with it, oh, this has happened, and oh no, what do I do? All that. We come back to really the basics of the situation. You know, we come back to something very simple, but actually really reliable. Yeah. We come back to, yes, you know, appearances can be interpreted as really difficult, or they can be interpreted as just what we want. But fundamentally, they're appearances, and those appearances aren't static. There's this dynamic play. There's this energy. We can just appreciate the energy of life moving from moment to moment, and none of that is fixed. None of that is solid. It's all dependent on mind, and there's an openness to it. There's an open dimension to it. So, in a way, this is another way of talking of exploring dependent arising. You always have the appearances which are transforming, and the reason why they can transform is because there's nothing fixed and inherently existent about them. So it's looking into the nature of the experience rather than getting caught up in the content of it and relating it back to a sense of me. So emptiness is the unsurpassed protection. And the fourth kaya, sorry, we only covered three. The fourth kaya is the Swabhavika kaya, which literally means kind of essential nature, or the essence kaya. You remember in the emptiness mantra that we often do at the beginning of sadhanas, Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarvadhamma Swabhava Shuddha. Yeah, it's the same basic word. So it means, so the Swabhavika kaya is just a way of, it's not something additional, it's a way of saying that the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya, in this way of looking at things, are always together. In fact, we just have experience, and we can differentiate, we can look into three aspects of that one experience. So we can look into the open, empty nature, we can look into the dynamic, energetic quality of it, we can look into the appearing, this sound, this sight, this thought, this feeling, the appearing aspect of it. But actually, there is always just one experience. And so the idea of a Swabhavika kaya is pointing to that. So it's a bit like the idea of this is, you know how in Vajrayana Buddhism they say, well, the refuges of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they're not that immediate. So what can I find in my immediate experience which sort of corresponds to those? Well, there's the guru, there's the teacher, there's the yidam, and there's the dakini. So similarly here, it's a bit like saying, well, okay, these kayas, I didn't meet Shakyamuni Buddha. Yeah, they can all seem a bit sort of out there. So what in my experience kind of corresponds to them? So that's all a rather kind of long explanation. I think just on the practical level, I find it really helpful to work with these, just looking at these three qualities. In any situation I can find them, as I said, they're always reliable. Yeah. Whatever appears, I can guarantee that it's not going to have any inherent nature. It's not going to be graspable. Sometimes I don't like that, but actually, the more my mind becomes accustomed to it, it's reassuring. Yeah, whatever the content, the nature is always the same. Things are always dynamic, and I can enjoy the play, the transformation of things. I can enjoy how, some of your heads are moving on the screen as you write, and I can enjoy the flow of words coming out of my mouth, whatever. Yeah, I can enjoy that. And I can just enjoy the actual appearances and sounds and sights and thoughts, and really appreciate those. It's only when I sort of get lost in what all this means to some kind of sense of a me in here that I lose that. So I find it a good way of sort of, funnily enough, a good way of grounding myself. Grounding myself by coming back to the qualities of experience. And one of those qualities is the emptiness of things, is that ungraspable nature, that nothing has any inherent existence, which is what allows conditions to arise and everything to transform. It allows life. So emptiness is the unsurpassed protection. So as we keep working, and I think working with emptiness and those kinds of wisdom practices, they're often a bit like sort of sadhana to start with. Some people love sadhana right from the beginning, and some people love sort of exploring emptiness and that dimension of things. But for a lot of us, I think it starts off being a bit sort of theoretical. With the sadhana, we feel like, well, I'm just creating this thing, and it takes a while for it to sort of really come to life for us. And I think similarly, thinking in terms of emptiness of inherent existence and things being ungraspable, to start with, that can feel a bit heady. But as we actually look into our experience and keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it, it starts to gather a power to it. It gathers momentum, and it starts to become a very powerful tool for putting an end to suffering. Because the way in which we're creating suffering is by treating things as inherently existent and fixed and solid and reliable and so on. And there's a certain kind of joy in seeing how things really are, in seeing through delusion, seeing through confusion. There's an exhilaration even, in seeing, well, this is how things really are. I've been fooled all these years, but now I see. So in that sense, emptiness is the unsurpassed protection, really knowing how things are. In a way, yes, we don't want to think so much in terms of using emptiness as an approach to prajna. We could just think in terms of, yes, that wisdom, that knowing how things are is the unsurpassed protection. Just as if we're watching a film and something unpleasant happens, the fact that we know that it's just a film is the easiest way, to kind of protect ourselves. Or if we're in a nightmare and we become lucid and know that it's a nightmare, suddenly that that completely protects us from Okay, it's time for tea, or whatever you drink, or whatever you want to do for the next 15 minutes. So we'll come back at 17 minutes past. See you then. Okay.
Your signal's gone. You're frozen, Basandra.
You probably can't hear us.
No, I thought I'd try anyway.
We can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Put something in the chat, maybe.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, we can now.
Thumbs up if you can.
Oh, it's still a bit rubbish for Sandra. I think he's disappeared now, hasn't he?
It looks like it.
Hi, Padmasaki. Nice to see you.
Hi, Prabhakari. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh. Is this one of those occasions we've got to work at just with the impermanence of everything and the
With the confusion.
yeah, we're confused.
I think we'll just have to wait, won't we, till he gets a clearer signal, really. There's nothing else we can do.
Yeah.
Just question awaiting, I agree.
He might be jumping in his car and coming down to Adistana, of course.
This could be true, yeah. It's not a bad backup, is it, Adistana? 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Can tech support give us some reassuring messages?
I think they have done in the chat box.
Oh,
Okay.
right. Oh, yeah.
That didn't come up for me. Right, yeah.
Thank you for being so patient and understanding. I'll contact him now and see what else to do, says Patrick. Karuna Barpi.
Can you hear me?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Can't see you. Oh, yeah, can see you. Yeah.
Yeah? Don't know what's going on because our broadband speed is perfectly okay. Yeah, you can still hear and see me? Thumbs up, somebody, if you can.
See you very well. You're frozen.
Hello?
Yeah, we can, Vasandra, but it's saying your signal is still red, which is not very good, but we can hear and see you.
I can't. Oh, yeah.
I could just hear you, Vasandra, but I couldn't see you.
I think
Can't
he's
see you.
frozen now because he's really still, isn't he?
It's difficult to tell with meditators, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you moved.
Tricky. I've just, Vijay has just turned up as my tech support. I got thrown out, come back, it's been difficult. The speed test was all right, it was about 10, but just now our internet connection's unstable. So basically I'm having trouble seeing, hearing. Sometimes I can't hear, some can hear, some can't. Don't know what we can do really.
You're freezing up at the moment, but it may be that if we just
Right, can I
pause
do
for a
my
few
phone?
minutes, it'll get better.
You could try switching your video off, Sandra.
It's Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just saying now Vasantra's network bandwidth is low. So maybe, yeah, if you did it without the camera on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so just give me 1 minute to adjust one or two things.
Patrick said turning your video off might help, Vasantra.
Because it's only you that can't see them.
I think I need to go message to Patrick and see something. I don't need to get in the car or.
Just that thing. We can hear you.
We can hear you, Vasantra.
You hear me?
Yeah, I think so.
They can hear.
I'm going to try, I'll just try turning the video on one more time. If that doesn't work, then let's see if we have enough broadband to do it just with sound. How's that? Can you see
We
me?
can't hear you well enough, Sandra, I'm afraid.
Turn the video off.
Much better with your camera off, Vasantra. I think you're going to need to do that, really.
All right, let's do that. Yeah, okay, I'll do it like this, and if it's hear me,
No, so Sandra, the sound is breaking up really badly.
you'll have to unmute yourself.
It's breaking up really badly, Vasantra. We can't hear you enough.
All right. So
You may want to go to Adhisthana.
yeah. Well, I'll sort something out with Adhisthana, and we'll go from there. So you've probably got.
Could I say something briefly? Sorry.
Yes, please do.
The suggestion around everyone else turning their video off, I'm afraid it doesn't help because there's a separate speed and connection for upload and download of data to your computer over the internet. So we're all using our download speed to see Vasantra, and he's using his upload speed to send his video to us. So it's the upload that he's having trouble with. And if we turn our videos off, it would help free up our bandwidth, but it wouldn't affect our Vasantra's ability to send us his video any quicker. Just thought I'd explain that because it's come up a few times. So I'm sorry, unfortunately, it wouldn't help.
Thanks for that.
Thanks, Patrick.
Okay. Patrick, Patrick, can I come to Hello?
Absolutely.
Patrick,
yeah.
can I come to Adishtana?
Let's do it.
I think that's the best thing to do. So we'll have, it's 11 half an hour this session. I can be set so I'll doing teaching in this session. Like, 20 minutes.
We can't hear you, Sandra.
Maybe put it in the chat box for Santra.
Sandra, it wasn't very clear, so perhaps you can drive to Adishtana, and then we can do the session from 12 to 12 till 12:30.
If we talk, he can't hear us as well.
Just giving him a phone call now.
Oh, he's gone.
Hello, this is Dharma Shri. I'm dialing in because my broadband's not working very well. If something significant comes up in the chat, please could somebody tell me what it is, because I won't be able to read it. Thanks very much.
Okay.
So I've just spoken to Vijayamala, and Vasantra's going to head here now. We will be starting up probably about 20 to 12. There won't be any more teaching, but he'll lead a meditation for the last 20 minutes, and then we'll finish at 12 as normal, or thereabouts.
Oh, shame he's having to do that for 20 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick.
No worries at all.
Is that the same link?
Yep. So you can just stay logged in at the moment.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything. I mean, you might just want to go and get another cup of tea or something if you like, briefly. But I'll be setting up a seat here now for Vasantra, and he'll just swoop in and sit himself down, and we'll carry on as normal.
Great.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Meditating now.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Please make sure he drives safely.
In the meantime, I was just going to say, if anybody has seen the email that the chat that I sent out, I do a Mahamudra meditation on Wednesdays since 3 weeks, and it's 9:30 till 10:45 the English time. If anybody wants to join, send me an email at prasadavadri, that's my name, lowercase, @gmail.com. There are lots of people around the world, order members, who are doing it from the Ocean of True Meaning retreat. But as the 17-point mind training is also Mahamudra, if somebody wants to join, that would be absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Because I thought, as we're doing the bodhicitta practice every Sunday since a year now, which is absolutely fabulous, I thought it would be really nice to do another order meditation. And I started it 3 weeks ago, which lots of people have already joined. So if there's anybody else interested, do send me an email and I'll send you a link for Wednesday.
Can you say the
Great.
time again, Prasada Vajri?
Yeah, 9:30 till 10:45 every Wednesday.
In the morning.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a great GMT, great, basically English time for
Yeah.
anybody.
Okay. Great.
And for those that are not in England or somewhere down under, I record the meditation and then send it out in an email so they can do the meditation when they're not asleep.
Fantastic. Thank you.
As we're a large gathering of the order and we're waiting for the Santa anyway, does anyone fancy like we chant the refuges and precepts together while we're waiting?
Really hard to do on Zoom because of the time lag.
Yeah, it gets really confusing if there's a lot of people trying to do it at once, unless only one person does it and the rest mute themselves.
Do check whether you're on mute or not, because we can hear somebody who clearly doesn't realise that they can be heard.
Hiya.
Hello.
Well, we were taking difficulties onto the path, weren't we? So here we are. All right. So let's finish the morning with some meditation, and let's try and explore and make sure that the next session either the broadband's sorted at my place, or hopefully Adhisthana will take me in as a refugee if need be. Good. All right. So let's get ourselves settled for a short meditation. So starting as usual, not asking anything of mind or body. Taking all the pressure off. Just resting in the present moment. Feeling the support of the earth, relaxing, giving it our weight. Letting the upper body be light, open, open to the vastness of the sky. Coming into the body, letting the body be a field of kindly awareness. And before the break, we were exploring particularly the three kayas in immediate experience, as they're sometimes taught in some Tibetan traditions. So whatever the experience, there are certain aspects that we can always find. And there are also aspects of mind. So first off, as we're here, aware of the body, there are appearances. The sensations, sound of my voice, other sounds. So being aware of experience, but just with kind of filter where we're looking at it in terms of this constancy of appearance. Appearance isn't just visual, of course, it's appearances in all the senses. And these appearances aren't just static, dead, unchanging. They're dynamic. It's a play of appearance. There's the energy of experience, the energy of mind. So as we're sitting here, we could be noticing, feeling that dynamic quality, constantly fresh, constantly new. That energy of mind as sensations change, sounds change, and so on. we can savor and enjoy this dynamic quality, this energy. And these appearances and the dynamic energy are all taking place, so to speak, within an awareness that's open, ungraspable, nothing we could ever get hold of, yet there's this knowing quality. This open, ungraspable, knowing aspect of mind enables all the experience. So let's see if we can have a sense of that, of what that's like. And whatever experience we're having, always find those three aspects: the appearances, the dynamic energy, and that open, ungraspable, knowing nature of mind, we could call it. But they always come together. It's one experience, and we can distinguish different aspects. And these three aspects are always present. We can always find them, we can always tune into them, we can always rely on them. They're what all the experiences that we have, pleasant or unpleasant as we think of them, are made up of. So let's just sit for a minute or two. And finally, sharing the benefits of the practice with all life. Okay. So thank you for your patience with this session. And may you enjoy these ungraspable, dynamic appearances until we next see one another. Go very well.
Thank you so much for driving over.
It was a pleasure, and I didn't kill anyone en route.
Lovely meditation and teaching again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vasantra. Yeah.